On June 7, 1965, NASA's Gemini 4 mission successfully returned to Earth after an extraordinary journey through space. During the mission, 2 astronauts spent 4 days in orbit, traveled around Earth 62 times, and achieved something no American had ever done before. One astronaut stepped outside his spacecraft and floated freely in space. This historic mission helped pave the way for future journeys to the Moon and beyond. The Gemini 4 mission was crewed by 2 courageous astronauts, James McDivitt and Edward White. On June 3, 1965, they climbed aboard their small spacecraft and prepared for an important mission. NASA wanted to learn more about how astronauts could live and work in space for longer periods of time. Their adventure would soon become one of the most important chapters in the history of space exploration. At 11:16 in the morning on June 3, 1965, the Titan II rocket roared to life. Flames burst from its engines as Gemini 4 lifted off from Cape Kennedy, Florida. The astronauts felt enormous forces pushing them back into their seats as the rocket accelerated toward space. Within minutes, they were traveling around Earth at nearly 28,000 kilometers per hour. Soon after reaching orbit, the mission reached its most exciting moment. Edward White carefully opened the spacecraft hatch and slowly floated outside into the vacuum of space. No American had ever done this before. Looking down at Earth from hundreds of kilometers above the surface, White became the first American astronaut to perform a spacewalk. It was a moment that would be remembered forever. Floating in space might sound easy, but moving around safely required special equipment. Edward White carried a handheld maneuvering unit that released small bursts of oxygen gas. By pointing the device in different directions, he could gently push himself through space. It worked like a miniature jetpack, helping him move while remaining safely connected to Gemini 4 by a tether. While Edward White explored outside the spacecraft, James McDivitt remained inside, monitoring the mission and piloting Gemini 4. Together, they continued circling Earth at incredible speed. During the mission, Gemini 4 completed 62 full orbits around the planet. Each orbit provided a unique view of Earth, allowing the astronauts to observe oceans, continents, clouds, and weather systems from space. Because Gemini 4 traveled around Earth so quickly, the astronauts experienced many more sunrises and sunsets than people on the ground. During their 4-day mission, they witnessed 62 sunrises and 62 sunsets. Imagine watching the sky change from daylight to darkness over and over again while floating high above our planet. It was a view very few humans had ever seen. After 4 successful days in space, the mission was coming to an end. On June 7, 1965, the astronauts prepared Gemini 4 for re-entry. They carefully adjusted the spacecraft and aimed it toward Earth's atmosphere. Everything had to happen at exactly the right moment. A mistake could cause the spacecraft to miss its landing zone or experience dangerous conditions during re-entry. As Gemini 4 plunged back toward Earth, temperatures outside the spacecraft rose to thousands of degrees. Fortunately, the heat shield protected the astronauts from the intense heat. After slowing down, parachutes opened above the capsule. Moments later, Gemini 4 splashed safely into the Atlantic Ocean. The historic mission had successfully reached its destination. Recovery teams quickly moved into action. Navy ships and helicopters rushed to the splashdown area to locate the spacecraft. Within a short time, the astronauts were safely recovered and brought aboard a recovery vessel. After 4 days in space, James McDivitt and Edward White were finally back home. Their mission had been a complete success. The Gemini 4 mission proved that astronauts could survive in space for several days and safely work outside their spacecraft. These achievements provided NASA with valuable experience for future missions. Just 4 years later, in July 1969, astronauts would walk on the Moon during Apollo 11. The lessons learned from Gemini 4 helped make that incredible achievement possible. What began as a daring mission in 1965 became an important step on humanity's journey to the stars. Space is full of incredible stories, and this is just one of them. If you dream of exploring the stars, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Follow at Golden Rule 16 for more exciting space adventures and discoveries.